Hi. Today I have a special guest. My dog, Bruno. He's really sleepy. It is past his bedtime and I am filming past his bedtime with him in the room. So I'm such a great sister. But yes, I do have a special guest behind me. If you hear any snoring or heavy breathing, please refer to my special guest. My 10 before the end. I cannot believe we are already at the end of 2025 and I am starting now to make plans for next year. Truly, where did the time go? I don't know. I don't know where this year went, honestly. I have no idea. It has completely escaped me, but here we are. Now, I have a jam-packed schedule until the end of the year. I'm literally working every weekend to the end of December. That means that I will be exhausted, unwell. Send thoughts and prayers, thank you. I'm not going to have a lot of time to read. I say that all the time though, when I end up squeezing in like 50 books. So I mean, take that with a grain of salt. I still do want to read. That is my way of coping with things. That is my way of de-stressing. That is my way of getting through life. Regardless of how little time I have, I'm going to squeeze in some reading, as much reading as I can, into any free time, any free slots that I have. The 10 books that I have here, some of them are the Christmas romances, and then others are books that I've had on my TBR the entire year that I just didn't get to and I really want to finish before the end of the year. These are going to be the priority books that I want to make sure I at least attempt before the end of the year. We'll see what ends up happening. I don't know if I'm going to do an update, but I have high hopes. The first book that I have that I want to get to before the end of this year is Six Morning Kisses by Diana Elliott Graham. Now, this woman is known as the queen of rom-trom. And by that, we mean the queen of romantic trauma because this woman is able to pull at every heartstring that you have and rip that organ apart, okay? The first book is called When We Were. Ruined me, absolutely ruined me. And I actually reread that book earlier this year in order to prepare myself for this book because I wanted to remind myself of the story and the characters and I wanted to relive that pain. Yes, I was re-traumatized so badly that I still have not picked this up. That was completely self-inflicted. Okay, that was my own fault. I did that to myself. I understand that. I acknowledge that. I accept that. Yeah, that's this one's on me. That being said, I have been too much of a scaredy cat to pick this one up because I just know this is going to ruin me. This is going to devastate me. And honestly, maybe that is the way that I want to end the year. Regardless, I definitely want to finish this. I don't want to have this book on my TBR in 2026. I simply must read this by the end of 2025. This is the first book. This is like top priority. I need to get to this soon. I have been procrastinating for the longest time because I've been emotionally scared to read this, but it's got to happen. It's got to happen. I'm not taking this book into 2026. I'm just simply not. Okay, the next book that I also have been like slightly procrastinating in because you know when a book is so hyped and so well known and so beloved that you're kind of scared to go into it because you have no idea what's going to happen and how you're going to react. Yeah, that's me with The Shining. I've never read Stephen King. This will be my first Stephen King book. And I have yet to read a horror book that truly scares me to my core. Granted, I'm still new to the horror genre, so I haven't read that many. But I know he is the king of horror. I simply need to read this. I want to know what the hype is about. I've never watched the movie. I actually don't even really know much about this book at all. But I think that is the perfect way for me to go into this book, is knowing absolutely nothing about it. I also was saving this for the later months of the year because it literally looks like this book is going to take place in the middle of a snowstorm. No better time to read this than the winter. I'm actually a little bit intimidated considering that this is a horror book and it's almost 700 pages long. What could possibly happen? I have no idea, but we're gonna get into it before the end of the year. In that same vein, I also have Krampus by Brahm. This is actually a book from the library. So I need to finish this within the next 2 weeks, actually. I think these two, I would say I'm really excited in terms of reading the foundational horror books within the genre. I mean, Krampus, it's Christmas season. I'm reading a lot of Christmas romances and I feel that this is going to be a good palate cleanser. You know, this is going to really shock my system from all of the Christmas romances that I'm reading, but in a really good way. In a good way. At least I hope in a good way. I hope I like this book. It looks creepy. And are there illustrations in this? No. Oh, there are. Oh. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited to read Krampus. The next book, I am cheating a little bit because I'm currently reading it right now, but don't worry, I'm not going to finish it anytime soon. And that is The Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. I am maybe 10% into this book right now, and she's a doozy. She's a doozy. So it will take me quite a bit of time to finish this, which is why it's part of my 10 before the end, because I hope I finish this before 2025 ends. That's all I have to say. The next book I want to finish before the end of the year is Winter Love by Han Suyin. This is a book that I picked up randomly at Half Price Books earlier this year. It just captured my attention. I don't know why. My eyes happened to catch the spine of this while I was looking through the fiction section. This is a sapphic literary fiction with, I'm hoping, some romantic elements. We'll see. I'm not really sure. I didn't want to know too much going into this, but first of all, the cover is beautiful, and this edition of the book, when I opened it, I was shocked because it's actually stamped from the Shakespeare and Company bookstore in Paris, and on the end it actually, I don't know if you can see, but there's a perforation here where this is a bookmark. I think that's so cool. More books that have these sort of cover flaps need to have a bookmark already part of the book. This is genius. I don't know why publishers aren't doing this, but you guys need to get it together, okay? I need bookmarks like this. This is awesome. I don't want to rip this out because it's such a cool feature. I think maybe if I finish this and I love it, I will, but I think this is such a cool edition of the book. And that's why I love shopping at used bookstores, because you find some hidden gems. Obviously, there's no perfect time to read this other than winter. That's why I saved this for the end of the year, and I'm excited to curl up with this during a really cold winter day here in California. I don't know when that's gonna be. I need the weather to drop down a few degrees before that happens, but when it finally does happen, I'm gonna read this book. The next book that I have is actually The Fall by Tal Bauer. Now, this book, I know 5 things about it, okay? It's written by Tal Bauer. It's an hockey romance. It has the amnesia trope. It's 800 pages. And it's absolutely going to ruin me. I have read four or five of Tal Bauer's books before. And in every single one of those books, my heart has been ripped apart, shredded, ran over, and then put back together somehow. I already know this book is going to pulverize me, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. The Fall by Tal Bauer. The next 2 books are some of my most anticipated releases for the end of the year. The first being Good Spirits by B.K. Borson. This is a Christmas romance, obviously. This cover in the red eats. Stunning. Absolutely love this. This is sort of a fun twist on A Christmas Carol in that she is getting haunted by the ghost of Christmas past, and by Christmas time they have to figure out why he's been chosen to haunt her. What in her past has gone wrong? What has she done? And I think that's a really fun twist. I love A Christmas Carol. It's a Christmas staple, obviously. You know, the thing too, though, is that B.K. Borson has been a hit or miss author for me, because her first Christmas book that I read, which was Love Light Farms, that has blown up in popularity, I DNF'd. I truly couldn't stand that book, didn't like it at all. But then I read First Time Caller last year, or did I read it this year? Actually, I think I read First Time Caller this year, and that was one of the best romances I read all year. I'm hoping that I end up loving this. I already started it, and so far I am enjoying it, but I'm really early on into the book. Jury is still out on how I will feel about this book by the end of it, but so far, so good. The next book that I want to read before the end of the year is Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace. Now, if you watched any of my previous videos, you know that I have had a very tumultuous relationship with Hannah Grace, because I reread the entire Maple Hills series this year. The way that series served one of the worst books that I've ever read, and also one of the best books I've ever read. The woman has range, okay? But Hannah Grace has only ever written that series. She hasn't come out with a new book since Daydream, which I think came out last year or the year before. So it's been some time since this author has come out with anything new. It's going to be completely separate and something brand new from what she has previously written. So I'm excited to see how she's grown as an author and if I like her stuff outside of the Maple Hills world. The last 2 books that I want to read before the end of the year are nonfiction books. Last year, I made a goal of myself to read 1 nonfiction book a month. This year, I have, I think, only read maybe 2 nonfiction books. So it's been a while since I've read any nonfiction. That being said, the second to last book that I want to read before the end of the year is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. This is about the history and persistence of our deadliest infection. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about this book. And the thing is, if you had asked me before this book came out if I have ever given tuberculosis a single thought, my answer would be absolutely not. Sorry to say, but I just don't think about tuberculosis. After reading this book, I probably am going to tell everyone to start thinking about tuberculosis, because I have heard that this is really incredible and that the author has done an immense amount of research to really give you the breakdown about this disease. I am very excited to get into this. I found a signed copy of it at my library bookstore, which was insane. I noticed that I love reading about historical books on something very niche and very specific, like tuberculosis. I have a feeling I'm going to really enjoy this. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this, and I definitely want to do it before the end of the year. The last book on this list, as I said, is also a nonfiction book, and it is How to Stand Up to a Dictator by Maria Ressa. Maria is a Filipina goddess. If you don't know who she is, look her up. She is an icon. She is a revolution, honestly, in the Philippines. She was a reporter for CNN. She owns Rappler, which is this huge media company in the Philippines, and she is most known for getting arrested because of the ways that she was speaking up against President Duterte in the Philippines. And I don't think there is a more crucial time to read a book about a woman who has stood up to a dictator than in 2025. I truly don't think there's a more crucial time. I'm excited to read this, not only just because it is very relevant to today's society in America, but also as a Filipina, what she has done for the Philippines. She is truly incredible, and I've never been more proud to be Filipina than when I learned about her and followed her journey for the past few years. She won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2021, and her speech when she accepted that award, life-changing. I think she is exactly the type of person that younger girls and young women need to look up to. I'm really excited to read this. I want to learn as much as I possibly can from this. Like I said, there's no better time to read this than right now. So there you have it. Those are the 10 books that I want to read before the end of 2025. I'm really hoping that none of these books are on my TBR in 2026. Like, I really got to get through these books. I really do. Yeah, feel free to share what books you guys want to read before the end of the year. There are a lot of books that are on my TBR and a lot on my Kindle that I want to get to, but these are definitely going to be the priority. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Did that wake you up? My bye woke him up. Bye. Okay. Good night. Bye.